Hello, my name is Serena. I'm a fourth year BSc Geography student and I'm going to tell you all about my experience doing a professional placement at the Marine Biological Association. So, why did I choose to do a placement? There are three main reasons. Firstly, because I knew a degree would not be enough to get myself a good job in the future. The jobs market is very competitive and doing a placement would help me stand out as an applicant. Employers are also looking for a range of skills, ranging from analytical and creative thinking to resilience and self-awareness, all of which could best be developed and exhibited through a placement. Secondly, because I'm still figuring out what career to pursue, so I wanted the chance to test one out. And finally, I found second year to be really stressful and it took a toll on my mental health. I desperately needed a break from the never-ending treadmill of assignments and, as I'm sure many physical geographers would agree, from Hadley Labs. So to give a bit of background on how I chose placement, I'm really interested in the environment, sustainability and science communication. I applied for lots of placements related to these interests and like many others I was rejected many times. But then I came across the placements at the Marine Biological Association and I decided to apply for the role of editorial assistant as it matched up with my interest in science communication and would give me insight into that field. So, the Marine Biological Association, or MBA, is a charity that was founded in 1884 to promote the understanding of the marine environment and to disseminate the causes and consequences of environmental change in the ocean through research and discovery. The MBA received a Royal Charter in 2013, marking it as the authoritative voice on marine biology within the UK. It has produced Nobel Prize-winning research and is famed for its Continuous Plankton Recorder, or CPR survey, which is one of the longest-running and most geographically extensive marine ecological surveys in the world. The MBA is also host to many experts who are called on to give advice on marine issues. You may have seen coverage of the 2023 marine heat waves in which the BBC interviewed the MBA scientists leading research on this topic. My role within the MBA was working on the Marine Biologist. This is a suite of media available to members of the association, mainly focused on the magazine and podcast. I worked in the membership and engagement team alongside the editor on a variety of tasks. So one day I might be working on searching for news stories and contacting scientists to ask if they'd like to collaborate on articles based on their research. Other days I might be doing something quite mundane, like updating download spreadsheets, but then be in a meeting giving my ideas and suggestions to the team on coordinating a themed edition of the magazine 6 months in advance. There was always something to keep things interesting. So essentially, my role contributed directly to the MBA's goal to disseminate research and improve public understanding of the oceans through helping produce exciting and engaging content. One of my favourite projects was having the opportunity to reach out to my personal tutor, Barend van Manen, about writing an article. The October issue of the magazine is going to be a special edition on blue carbon, and a range of experts were lined up to write articles on different ecosystems such as seagrass meadows and kelp forests, but no one had been found to write about mangroves, and the story of blue carbon would not be complete without it. I suggested Barend, who is an expert in mangroves, and I reached out to organise the creation of an article. I later saw Barend at this year's graduation, and he expressed how grateful he was that I reached out and gave him the opportunity to spread knowledge on mangroves more widely. So that was a really proud moment for me to be able to collaborate with him. So now I'd like to highlight the challenges, opportunities, and skills I've learned through this placement. One of the biggest challenges was time management. There were a lot of deadlines for projects occurring simultaneously, with each task running on different timescales, and sometimes I'd be working on 3 editions at once. This meant there was a lot of task juggling. Commuting also posed challenges. I lived in Exeter through my placement and commuted to Plymouth to be in the office twice a week. While the commute wasn't such an issue when I started in June, by October, when the dark, cold and rain had set in, waking up and catching the 7:30 train in the mornings was a lot less appealing. The MBA offers hybrid working. However, I discovered that I really struggle with working from home. I found that it led to unhealthy working patterns where I'd often get distracted and not complete tasks during the working day, so they would creep into my free time and I would find myself working in the evenings and weekends in order to meet deadlines. I also found that I struggled with the role being 100% desk-based. I found myself becoming quite restless for a change. Another challenging aspect of this placement was that it was unpaid, so it was a financially difficult time. I was able to manage this by doing my placement part-time over 13 months so that I could work another job alongside. I'd highly recommend using the university's A2I scheme to help partially fund an unpaid placement if you find yourself in the same situation. Also, having the courage to be vulnerable and share with my supervisor when I was struggling was difficult for me. I was dealing with a lot of responsibilities, financial worries, and a spate of illnesses during my placement. Initially, I was worried to share my personal issues with my supervisor until a meeting where he asked why I was falling behind on work. It felt like an admission of failure to be honest and say that I wasn't coping with all the responsibilities I had, but it was also a relief to not keep hiding my struggles. My supervisor was understanding and took some tasks off my plate to allow me to start recovering from the burnout. This experience taught me that even if it requires a bit of bravery to open up to a supervisor, it's a lot better to be honest and upfront about any struggles, because then they can be accommodated for and worked around. And finally, it's a job that can very easily have a bad work-life balance, as you never have a moment where you're completely done. With magazine production, there's always something urgent just around the corner, and the research for new content is practically endless. You have to be the one to create the balance for yourself. In terms of opportunities that come with the role, it is a great space in which to gain insights into the world of science communication, magazine production, and membership associations. I was able to hone my non-academic writing style, which was a fun challenge after 2 years of writing essays and reports. There's also the chance to gear the role towards your interests. There's a fair bit of flexibility on what you choose to write about. And I had the opportunity to develop my understanding of marine biology and ocean science. I was surrounded by friendly marine biologists at all stages of their career, some of whom would show me around the marine aquariums from time to time, and there was a regular program of coffee time talks in which experts came to present their current research, all of which made for an excellent learning environment. So the main skills that I developed on this placement were communication, both written communication through extensive editing of written material, and verbal communication through having weekly progress and planning meetings with my supervisor. Time management, as stated, this was essential for the role, and I had a lot of practice juggling time-sensitive tasks, which made me better at prioritising and managing my time. Dealing with criticism, this came up a lot as I was still learning how to write in the correct tone for the magazine. So I got a fair bit of negative feedback at the beginning, and I learned not to take it too personally and to apply the criticisms constructively to future tasks. There's also teamwork and flexibility through collaboratively editing articles and having to regularly switch tasks and prioritise quickly. And resilience, so through having or dealing with the hold-ups in the flow of content and the tension this can cause in the schedule, I've become more resilient to setbacks and unexpected situations. So, looking ahead, how has this placement influenced my future career plans? Well, I really enjoyed my placement. It's helped me learn a lot about the world of work and about my preferences. For example, I'll be cautious about taking on long commutes and a lot of working from home, as I now know I struggle with these. I really enjoyed working in a small, close-knit team, so that is something I'll be seeking out in the future. I've discovered that the relentless pace of the magazine cycle might not be for me. Whilst I'm still interested in contributing towards science communication, I feel I'd like projects that run a bit longer than the speedy turnover of magazine production. I intend to use what I've learned to guide my future career steps. So far, I've experimented with a very different role working with the university's sustainability team on a summer internship. This avoided many of the aspects I disliked about my placement. For example, I've always worked in person and so fostered a better work-life balance, while keeping aspects I enjoyed, like having an environmental focus to my work. I found this role really suited me, and now being able to compare both jobs, I feel I'm well equipped to seek out the perfect career once I graduate. I hope you found this presentation informative, and thanks for listening.